people's head was in May of 1960, about 5 months before my uncle's election. Eisenhower, a U-2 CIA spy plane got shut down over Russia, and those spy planes travel at 60,000 feet. They're invisible to radar, invisible to the naked eye. It was a top secret program. Nobody knew, but there was a spy, there was a Russian mole at Langley, and he gave them the plans, told the Russians how to shut it down, so they shot it down. But the pilot was supposed to commit suicide. He had a cyanide shot that he carried on him in a coin. And the Russians didn't, at first, just accused America. They didn't tell them that Gary Francis Powers, the pilot, had not committed suicide. He had parachuted on, they had captured him, and they didn't tell anybody. They accused the United States of operating this spy plane, and they said, we shot it down. And Alan Dulles told Eisenhower to lie about it. He said they don't have the pilot because the pilot's dead, and they won't have enough parts from that plane to be able to prove anything. So Eisenhower got on TV and said it was all a lie by the Russians. And then the Russians produced Gary Francis Powers, and Americans for the first time went, oh my God, the U.S. government lied to us. We never thought that could happen. And then when my uncle was killed, 1963, the Warren Commission report comes out, and half of Americans don't believe it. So there, again, people start thinking they're lying. In 1973, the Pentagon Papers are published, and that detailed 27 volumes of 20 years of lies to get us into Vietnam and keep us there by hundreds of government officials. And by then, people were saying, oh, they lie to us all the time. And now, every time you look at a government official on TV from the president on down, he's lying.
Yeah.
Whether it's CDC, NIH, FDA, throughout COVID, they all lied.
Miami clearance delivery Orion Airlines Foxtrot Lima 420 Foxtrot Alpha IFR to Palm Beach, ready to copy.
Official who lies to the American public.
Orion Airlines Foxtrot Lima 420 Foxtrot Alpha is cleared to Palm Beach Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 8 left climb and maintain 7,000 feet.
I'm going to end the division.
Is 120.5 squawk 4655.
They're products of the hatred, this polarization, this toxic polarization.
Orion Airlines Foxtrot Lima 420 Foxtrot Alpha cleared to Palm Beach Airport is filed. Takeoff runway 8 left climb and maintain 7,000 feet.
The way they're going to win this.
Departure on 120.5 squawk 4655.
When head-to-head races
Orion Airlines Foxtrot Lima 420 Foxtrot Alpha readback is correct. Contact ground on 120.35 when ready to taxi.
I beat a landslide. And people want to vote for me. I have a greater popularity than either of them, but they won't because they're being manipulated by fear. They're saying if you vote for Bobby, you're going to get, the other guy elected. So they're voting on the lesser of two evils, and they're voting out of fear, and both of those guys need to feed the fear in order to get elected, so they can't end the polarization. So all of these existential things that are issues that are really threatening our country, and the chronic disease epidemic, they can't solve it because they presided over it, the explosion of the epidemic. These are things I'm going to end. And they can't do it. So if you want more of the same, we already know what they're going to do because they both had a 4-year chance. If you want more of the same, you should vote for those guys. But if you want something completely different, because I'm going to change everything. I'm going to change everything. I'm going to make our government trustworthy again.
Ground Orion Airlines Foxtrot Lima 420 Foxtrot Alpha requesting pushback.
That was actually going to be my first question of the interview, is how are you going to gain the confidence of the American people and the U.S. government again? And thank you. Thank you. And
well, thank you, Sean. It's been fun talking to you.
No matter where you're watching Sean Ryan Show from, if you get hit...
requesting pushback. Critter 549er pushback request accepted.
Trying to elevate my bravery right now. Let's go play some heli golf.
A dish cycle 800 years.
This has been insane, so sick.
Ground Flex Jet 414 Heavy, request taxi to the gate.
Mockingbird,
FlexJet 414
which was
Heavy
an
taxi.
illegal
To gate 1
operation to
tree, gate using
compromise
taxiway
American
Lima 6
journalism.
cross runway 26
And they
left
had
6
some of the
Mike
leading,
November,
in fact,
4
Carl
November, Whiskey Papa,
Bernstein in
Uniform Papa.
1973 published a list of the 400
Ground Orion Airlines Foxtrot Lima
journalists who were
420
secretly working
Foxtrot
for the
Alpha
CIA,
requesting
and they were
pushback
from
code to
all the
steer the
leading
aircraft
papers,
to the
the
right.
Washington Post, New York Times, Time Magazine,
Orion Airlines
Newsweek, a lot of the
Foxtrot Lima
editors,
420
a lot of
Foxtrot Alpha, your
the
request has been
publishers of
transmitted to the
those were,
operator.
had signed security agreements with
Taxiing to gate 1 tree 8 via
with the
taxiway Lima
CIA,
6
and
cross
we're
runway
assets
26
of the
left
CIA.
6 Mike
It
November,
was an
4
illegal
November, Whiskey
program. The
Papa,
CIA
Uniform
is
Papa,
allowed to
FlexJet
propagandize
414
around the world, and it's the biggest funder of journalism
Ground
today.
Orion
in the world.
Airlines
It spends
Foxtrot Lima 420
$10
Foxtrot
billion a
Alpha
year
requesting the end of
through
pushback.
USAID to fund journalism all over the
Orion
world.
Airlines
It owns some of the
Foxtrot Lima
biggest
420
newspapers and
Foxtrot Alpha
magazines, the most
request to end
influential
pushback received.
in the developing world, in Europe and around
FlexJet
the world.
414 Heavy hold position caution. The
There
Airbus
was
A28 on short
in
final.
the CIA's charter, it says, and there was an act called the Smith-Mundt Act
Ground critter fight
that makes it
49er with
illegal
Sierra
for
ready to
the
taxi
CIA
IFR.
to propagandize Americans.
Critter fight
Well,
49er
in
taxi 2
1973,
and
there were
hold short of
congressional
runway 9er
hearings that
via
came out
taxiway
of the
10
House
Whiskey
Select
Papa
Assassination
Uniform, cross
Committee
runway
hearings
30
when all the
Uniform
CIA
Tango Sierra.
secrets were revealed.
Contact
They were
tower
called the
on
family
118
jewels.
decimal tree when ready.
It was all of the worst secrets of the CIA that they all
Hold
kept in
position
one
FlexJet
place.
414 Heavy.
And that was released, during the 1970s, during these hearings from the Church Committee and the House Select Assassination
Giant
Committee.
Niner 979er
And
pushback
Americans learned for the
request
first
accepted.
time about, Operation Mockingbird, but also about MK Ultra, MK Naomi, MK Dietrich, these
Taxi 2 and hold short runway 9er using taxiway 12 Whiskey Papa uniform. Cross runway tree 0 uniform Tango Sierra Critter 549er. FlexJet 414 Heavy, continue taxi. Ground Spirit Wings 1839er Heavy taxi to the gate. Spirit Wings 1839er Heavy taxi to gate 9er tree using taxiway Tango Tree Sierra Yankee. Cross runway tree 0 Yankee November 10 Delta. Roger FlexJet 414 Heavy.
Ground Orion Airlines Foxtrot Lima 420 Foxtrot Alpha with Sierra ready to taxi IFR.
Orion Airlines Foxtrot Lima 420 Foxtrot Alpha Taxi 2 and hold short of runway 8 left via taxiway Uniform Papa Sierra Kilo Kilo 2 cross runway 8 left Lima 2 cross runway 8 right Mike 2 November Quebec Mike 1 cross runway 8 right Lima 1. Contact tower on 123.9er when ready. Ground American 608 Heavy requesting pushback. American 608 Heavy pushback request accepted. Taxiing to gate 9er tree via taxiway Tango Tree Sierra Yankee cross runway tree 0 Yankee November 10 Delta Spirit Wings 1839er Heavy.
Taxiing hold short runway 8 left via taxiway Uniform Papa Sierra Kilo Kilo 2 cross runway 8 left Lima 2 cross runway 8 right Mike 2 November Quebec Mike 1 cross runway 8 right Lima 1 Orion Airlines Foxtrot Lima 420 Foxtrot Alpha.
Ground Giant 9er with Sierra ready to taxi IFR. Giant 9er taxi 2 and hold short of runway 9er using taxiway 7 Tree Sierra. Contact tower on 118 decimal tree when ready. Ground Grixona Tree 171 Heavy requesting pushback. Grixona Tree 171 Heavy pushback request accepted. Ground Airbus Quebec Echo 204 requesting pushback. Airbus Quebec Echo 204 pushback request accepted. Taxiing hold short runway 9er using taxiway 7 Tree Sierra Giant 9er.
Miami Tower, Orion Airlines, Foxtrot Lima 420 Foxtrot Alpha, ready for departure, runway 8 left IFR to Palm Beach.
Orion Airlines, Foxtrot Lima 420 Foxtrot Alpha, hold short, runway 8 left. Traffic is Airbus A20N on final.
Hold short, runway 8 left, Orion Airlines, Foxtrot Lima 420 Foxtrot Alpha.
Delta 1514 Heavy, exit runway when able. Delta 1514 Heavy, contact ground on 121.8. Orion Airlines, Foxtrot Lima 420 Foxtrot Alpha, altimeter 30.06, wind 067 at 1 tree. Cleared for takeoff, runway 8 left.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 8 left, Orion Airlines, Foxtrot Lima 420 Foxtrot Alpha.
Going to 121.8 Delta 1514 Heavy. Miami Tower, American 2878 Heavy, 10 miles northwest, inbound visual, runway 8 left approach. American 2878 Heavy, Miami Tower.
Overspeed. Overspeed.
Were all of the MK stands for mind control, and the CIA had these programs at Fort Detrick, but at 220 universities around our country, and in Latin America and Canada, experimenting with ways to control the human mind. The LSD came out of that program, and they were using psychoactive drugs, they were using torture, they were using sensory deprivation, they were using noise, and they were figuring out how to control individuals, including how to develop Manchurian candidates, unwilling assassins through hypnosis and these, other techniques, but also how do you control whole societies through, destruction of institutions, the propagation of lies, instigated violence, and the orchestrated diminishment of faith in the institutions of society and the mistrust among people. So they had all of these, they were experimenting. And, it wasn't just the U.S. The same thing was happening in Russia and in other parts of the world. But, we had a very, very sophisticated program that violated a lot of American values.
How effective do you think the MK Ultra program was?
Well, there's a lot of things that came out of it. And there's a lot of it's hard to tell because a lot of it was top secret. It's very, it's a really interesting and a very surprisingly well-documented history. But, I don't want it. But the term conspiracy theorists there was a memo that went out to all of those journalists who were associated with the CIA in 1964, where they said that anybody who questions the Kennedy assassination, the Warren Report, which was the report that was done by a commission that was appointed by LBJ, and the commission was essentially told, and individual members were told, you got to say that this was a single gunman. Do not let people talk about a conspiracy theory. The named head of the commission was Earl Warren, who was a Supreme Court justice, but the real head of the commission was Allen Dulles, who had been the head of the CIA, who my uncle had fired. When my uncle died, he told a young journalist, he thought he was a god. I'm glad the little shit is dead. And, we now know that the CIA was directly involved in my uncle's assassination and in the 60-year cover-up. They continue to be involved. They're still not releasing, the last assassination documents that are required by the JFK Papers Act, the Assassination Papers Act. And the CIA still won't let the president release them. Why Trump didn't release them, I don't know. He promised he would.
He said, I have here, Donald Trump has allegedly said that he's looked at the classified JFK files and said that if the public saw what he saw, they wouldn't want the files released either.
What does that mean?
Yeah, what the hell is that?
I don't know.
Have you ever spoken to him about that?
I have friends who have asked Trump about that. And President Trump, one of my friends who asked about that, President Trump said, I'm not going to talk to you about it on the phone. And, you know,
Mike
so,
Pompeo was the director of CIA when it was supposed to be
you know what the interesting
released,
thing? I
correct?
had dinner with Mike Pompeo a couple of months ago. I've never met him before. And I always had a bad opinion of him because I feel like he's like a warmonger. But when I actually met him and sat down with dinner with him, I found him incredibly charming and brilliant. And he and I have different ideologies and different views about what, about the trajectory our country's going. But I believe that his are sincerely held, that he's a man of principle, and that he just believes differently than I do. But he was in the military.
Going to 120.5 Orion Airlines Foxtrot Lima 420 Foxtrot Alpha. Miami Center Orion Airlines Foxtrot Lima 420 Foxtrot Alpha 7,000 feet.
Orion Airlines Foxtrot Lima 420 Foxtrot Alpha, Miami Center altimeter 30.07 radar contact. Continue to Tovar. Orion Airlines Foxtrot Lima 420 Foxtrot Alpha, you are 26 miles south. Descend and maintain 3,000 feet. Expect ILS runway 28 right approach via Coop transition. Clear to Cooped. Orion Airlines Foxtrot Lima 420 Foxtrot Alpha, you are 24 miles south of Palm Beach. Contact Palm Beach Tower on 119.1 when inbound.
Tower on 119.1 Orion Airlines Foxtrot Lima 420 Foxtrot Alpha. Palm Beach Tower Orion Airlines Foxtrot Lima 420 Foxtrot Alpha 22 miles south inbound ILS runway 28 right approach.
Orion Airlines Foxtrot Lima 420 Foxtrot Alpha Palm Beach Tower. Altimeter tree 0.08 wind 081 at 1 tree. Cleared ILS runway 28 right approach.
Cleared ILS runway 28 right approach Orion Airlines Foxtrot Lima 420 Foxtrot Alpha.
I think he may have been a Rhodes Scholar. He really is like a, exceptionally brilliant person. He said to me something really interesting. He said that, and I, this is the first time I met him. And I started talking to him about the CIA, and he said, my greatest regret in public life is I did not fix the CIA. And he said, I had an opportunity to change the culture there, and I didn't do it. I left it alone. And he said, the entire upper echelon of that agency is made up of individuals who do not believe in the democratic institutions of the United States of America. That's a quote, what he said to me. My daughter-in-law, and I know that you had, you've worked for this agency as well. My daughter-in-law was in the clandestine services at the CIA. She's running my campaign now, Amaryllis Fox Kennedy. She was in the clandestine services for her career in the Weapons of Mass Destruction program. She went in, she joined right after 9/11 as, an act of patriotism and idealism. And she spent the years since she left the agency in a battle against the military-industrial complex and winding down the war machine, which she, got very, very much exposed to over there. But she says, look, there's 20,000 people who work for that agency, and most of them are idealistic public servants who have integrity and love of our country and want to do the best thing. But she said the upper levels of the agency are completely contaminated and corrupted by, by these sort of neocon types.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been over there, but it's a damn shame. Where?
And Mike, you were asking about my childhood. I got so I had this extraordinary magical childhood that was, where my house in Hickory Hill in Virginia was 10 minutes from the White House. My father was the most powerful person in government after my uncle. He had run my uncle's campaign. He was now his attorney general, but he had a portfolio across all the agencies. And he was a young man, 35 years old, and he was running the government. And he was deeply involved. The CIA was only minutes from my house, it was a mile, or less than a mile. I went horseback riding every morning with my dad. We had at that time there were 9 kids, and each one of us had a horse, and my father would take us galloping across the countryside through the woods every morning before breakfast, and we'd always ride through the CIA campus. That's when the building was first being built, and the CIA had, my father and uncle fired Dulles, but they replaced him with a guy called John McComb, who came to our house every day. We had Cuban brigade members from the Cuban Brigade, 257 Brigade, who were at our house all the time. We had Green Berets climbing on the roof. The house was filled with all of the congressmen and senators. Every meal, there were Supreme Court justices, there were, members of the administration, a lot of the big programs, the civil rights program were all directed.
Orion Airlines, Foxtrot Lima, 420 Foxtrot, Alpha Wind 087 at 11.
He ordered 20,000
Clear to land
troops
runway
to the
28 right.
University of Alabama to integrate it and to Mississippi.
Clear
So
to land
we
runway
were-
28 right,
we were
Orion Airlines, Foxtrot Lima, 420 Foxtrot Alpha.
lucky to have kind of first front row seats at all of these.
Palm
events.
Beach Tower, Hex Airline, 74 Heavy, 18 miles north. Inbound ILS runway 28 right approach.
Sidwell Friends School.
Hex Airline, 74 Heavy, Palm Beach Tower.
Early.
Altimeter tree 0.08 wind 087 at 11. Cleared ILS runway 28 right approach. Cleared ILS runway 28 right approach. Hex Airline 74 Heavy. Airlines Foxtrot Lima 420 Foxtrot Alpha, turn next taxiway. Orion Airlines Foxtrot Lima 420 Foxtrot Alpha, contact ground on 121.9er. Airline 74 tree heavy wind 087 at 11. Cleared to land runway 28 right. Cleared to land runway 28 right. X Airline 74 tree heavy.